They're at it again. Yes, they never go away, do they? Just Stop Oil, yesterday at Gatwick, trying to impede people as they went towards getting their aeroplanes. And, of course, it's the school hulls and people are off to Spain and all round the world, Disneyland or wherever it may be. And today at Heathrow, similar, and a couple of people were arrested. I'm joined by Ben Larsen, a Just Stop Oil spokesman. There are a lot of hard-working families, you know, and these days both mum and dad work, and much as holidaying in our country is beautiful and wonderful, it very often lashes with rain, and they want to go to Spain for a couple of weeks, and you want to stop them doing that. Why?
Well, I mean, have you seen the news? The Spanish want to stop them doing that as well.
Well, that's very marginal round the edges in Barcelona.
Listen.
But in general terms, you know, there are tens of millions of flights every year from this country, and it's people going for weekend breaks or summer holes, and you want to stop them doing that.
Just Stop Oil has always been very clear. We're not blocking airports to stop flying, just like we weren't blocking the M25 to stop people driving.
Well, you did.
We did these blockading actions, but that's to send a message to our government. Because when you're rich in this country, you can buy political influence. You can lobby. Jacob knows all about that. You can lobby and you can buy influence. When you're an ordinary person in this country, you really don't have that much power. So Just Stop Oil is about ordinary people coming together, using their bodies to dominate the news cycle and get this issue to the top of the news cycle where it needs to be.
But isn't there something... So basically you're saying that a form of domestic soft terrorism is better. Just hear me.
No. I'm sorry. I've heard you through, but to use a word
you haven't heard me through.
To use a word like terrorism.
There is something here called
terrorism, Nigel.
Do you accept the democratic process?
Are you serious?
Do you accept the democratic process?
We live in a liberal democracy, and that's a good thing.
Do you accept the democratic process?
Protest is a necessary part
if you
of a
can't
democracy.
win,
but Nigel, no, we're not carrying on.
If you can't win through the ballot box,
you really just looked at me and said terrorism. Are you taking the mickey?
Well, do you accept...
Lockerbie
do you accept
terrorism.
the rule of law?
9/11 is terrorism.
I said soft.
This was orange paint in a departure lounge.
I said soft terrorism. And
what the hell is soft terrorism? Explain that to me.
Do you accept the democratic result of elections in this country?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you accept the rule of law?
Yes.
So why are you going outside of that to try and get change by impeding and stopping people going about their lawful legal activities? That is a form, and if the word's not terrorism, it's obstructionism, but you are behaving in an anti-democratic manner.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you've taken back the word terrorism, because that's ridiculous. The second thing
I think it's soft terrorism, but that's by the by. But
what the hell is soft terrorism?
Well, it is saying we are above the law. You are saying we are above the law.
We are not saying we're above the law.
We're above the democratic process, and we will stop you going about your free will to go on holiday, to drive around the M25 and go to a parent's funeral, or whatever it may be. How do you... I mean, number one, I think you're putting yourselves above the law.
No. So you've made this point a number of times now. Just Stop Oil acts in an illegal manner.
Yes.
Right, Just Stop Oil does break the law in a sense. We use a tried and tested form of civil disobedience. So this is being used in liberal democracies. It's not counter to liberal democracies. It's very much a part to be able to say, I dissent. I think what the government, although it's a legitimate government, is doing is wrong. What the government is doing is leading to suffering for billions of people.
I don't mind you protesting.
Well,
No. I don't mind you protesting. I don't mind you standing in Parliament Square and screaming and shouting or doing whatever you want to do.
Well, when we did that, we got arrested.
But I object to you trying to stop families going on their summer holiday.
Listen, Just Stop Oil is willing to do whatever it non-violently takes, because right now the world is dangerously hot, and this government has...
According to you?
No, sorry. According to 98% of scientists. Nigel, if you look outside the windows, we're in the GBNews bunker right now, but if you have a window and you look out of it, you can see what's happening around the world. It's not normal, and it makes sense that people are freaked out.
And what percentage of global carbon emissions comes from the UK?
A huge amount is financed by the City of London, which this government has control over.
What percentage of global CO2 comes from the UK?
And historically, we're one of the biggest emitters of all time.
No, we're not. No, we're not. China has emitted more CO2 in the last 10 years than we have since the dawn of time.
I said one of the biggest emitters of all time historically. And that's why this government has a special responsibility, because of our place in the...
We have cut carbon emissions by 50% since 1990.
Let me finish. This government has a historic responsibility to sign a fossil fuel treaty with governments across the world to say, We need to phase out this stuff, just like we did with nuclear warheads.
Ben, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
What should we do then,
Everybody
Nigel?
accepts.
Should we just let the wildfires take us? Should we just sink under the sea levels?
We can encourage India. We can encourage China. We can encourage them to burn less coal.
All right, let's do it then. And it has to start at home.
You know what?
It has to start at home. Otherwise, they're just going to call us hypocrites, aren't they, Nigel?
This year, the world's going to burn 4 billion tons of coal. It's a number so mind-blowing, we can't even get our minds around it. Aren't we better just to accept that whilst we can encourage other people to do it, we should not deindustrialise, we should not make people poorer, and we should not stop them going on holiday.
Who's talking about deindustrialisation?
Green
energy is cleaner, it's cheaper, and it's clearly better for communities.
Work.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
It's intermittent.
Nigel, I think your brain is intermittently working.
When the wind doesn't blow, these things produce nothing.
Okay, well then that's why we've figured out how to balance an electricity grid a long time ago. Your arguments are totally outdated and they're not shared by
we will be using oil and gas. We will be using oil and gas in 2050, even if we go headlong for net zero. And everyone accepts that, apart from Just Stop Oil. Ben, it's good to have you on to debate.
Go to juststopoil.org, sign up now.
Jacob,